Jesus. It's like 7 p.m. right now. And the sun is like, wow, this is surreal. I mean, it was like, it's heavy rainfall right now. And then all of a sudden, the clouds are like going away. And then the sun is just shining right through. And I'm blinded. What the? Yeah, there's a tornado warning in our area, by the way. Thunderstorm and tornado. But I mean, oftentimes it's in like the further suburbs, not like you know. I mean, there is obviously gonna be like heavy rainfall in my area, but tornadoes are usually either in like the super northwest or the like South Illinois. I actually kind of like it. No, it's the wrong thing. I had to leave my camera on auto. It's gonna fluctuate. As the clouds passes by, or as the sun goes down. Um, the lighting's gonna change. So the camera has to detect it, and then it will determine. I think once it gets nighttime, then I can set it to just a fixed lighting. But for now, I just gotta leave it as it is. Alrighty. Modes. Let's do. Domination. Team deathmatch. Squad deathmatch. Well, we'll do rush too. Hardcore all maps. Rush all maps. Do I want to do hardcore? Fuck it, let's go. Who gives a shit? I don't know. I was like debating whether I'd play Diablo or BattleBit. But I was like, I kind of want something that looks nice, so I went for Battlefield. Make no mistake, BattleBit is a pretty clean version of Battlefield 2. Or a pretty much polished version of Battlefield 2. So it's a good game. It's a good game. I think the one thing that stands apart is the VoIP system, which is probably the best I've seen done in any shooter game. Um, and then the medic healing system. Now it's kind of broken in a way. Oh wow. Oh wow. That's crazy because the clouds were completely covering the sky. And then the everything was sort of white and gray, and then the blue sky broke right through the cloud, and now it's sunny again. But earlier it was like raining and it's foggy. Everything's all like gray and just all you see is like downpour, and then all of a sudden you see like the blue sky, and it's like 7 p.m. around this time. It's nice. And then the sun is like sort of like casting as it's like sort of lowering down toward the sunset. Oh, that's really nice. I wish I can. I mean, I don't want to go out there and get wet, but um, yeah, it's nice and bright outside. What am I doing again? Oh right, I think I had to move my camera on the right side. Right, that's where the mini map is. Oh, there's no mini map. Never mind. I'll move it back. What weapon am I using? I'm kind of curious to see how this game looks like, cause I mean I'm playing it on the lowest settings. I mean I play every game on the low settings, even if it's like Minecraft. But this is the first time I'm actually streaming this on, this high of a bit rate. Game time. I love these commands. So the one is to show the frame rate, and the other one is to show to cap it at 60 frames. Beautiful game. Really nice sky. That's like this sky looks like something you would like stare at while you're at the beach. Yeah, I've never actually played this. Well, I mean, I just recently upped the bitrate for my stream, and I upped the frame rate as well. So I haven't really played like a shooter. Maybe Valorant. But other than that, I haven't really tried playing anything at this high above quality. I mean, yeah, if I do get like enough, I mean later on, save up for like an upgrade, I think, I'm sure, like I don't know how I want to do it, but technically this system is going to be separate from the new system. So I'm thinking of doing like a dual setup, but I would need an extra set of power strips or something like that. We'll see. I mean, most streamers nowadays, they just use, all in one, because I mean, like, say for example with the Threadripper, you can technically stream and play a game at the same time. you don't have to have a second setup. The second setup is all sorts of complication, right? It's like, you know, you have to set up the audio correct, and video, and capture card, and all that jazz. Whoa. Hey now. But why that specific spot though? Try it again. Even this game has an overlay map. You see this D4? You see this Blizzard? It's an overlay map in an FPS game that is transparent. Or, you know, semi-transparent. Yeah, I really want to see this on the highest graphics. I've never, like, all the years that I've played this game, I've never seen it on the highest graphics. Maybe once when I, you know, decided to just run it at ultra, but I never really sat down and play it. You know, at its highest fidelity. Still runs really well. I mean, it's as polished as it can get for a shooter. I just really wish that they, I mean, in the next games or whatever, that, you know, this, I really wish they put more work into the sights. I mean, have you seen how COD did it, or have you seen how Squad did it, or Arma? Then you'd know, like, yeah, they really needed some work on that. And they could have easily gotten rid of the, like, the Comoros button. And, you know, put it elsewhere. So Q and E should have been freed up. So that, you know, Q obviously would be lean left, E is lean right. I just never understood that in any of the Battlefield games. They never, like, or COD, they just never had a lean, free lean or manual lean. It was just like, what? You know, it's 20, you know. Whenever they came out, 2014. I mean, there was already games that had that feature. You know, obviously CS:GO Valorant doesn't have it because it's CS:GO just never had it. But I mean, Rainbow introduced it. I get what they program. Enter and exit vehicle could have been easily F, so that, and then melee attack could have been easily like V or B or something. And then cycle fire, like say for example, B is melee and then V is the fire, you know, change fire mode or something like that. And then E could have been F, which is could have been the action button. And then that leaves Q and E open. Comoros could have been something else, just whatever. Tilde key, I don't know. X, C, R, T, A. No, not A. Like, why is it? I don't think there's really any excuse for DICE to not introduce free laning. Same with Call of Duty, Activision. It's just pure laziness. Like, I mean, you can have the contextual, you know, leaning system, but that is, to me, that's so much more work. You know, you have to make sure every wall or something is programmed to accept, you know, this action. Whereas, you could have just had an animation system where, you know, kind of a universal animation for every character. Just, you know, lean left, lean right, rather than, you know, go up to this specific wall and then perform a specific action. I mean, you could still have it, but you can still have both systems. people want to use the contextual leaning, go ahead, go for it.
Listen up. Objective Bravo neutralized.
Вот, медпакет, возьми! Ребята нашего убили!
Get down, get down. I don't have any equipment for it. I don't have a mine. Brave engineer, man. Brave engineer. Yeah, like sometimes I'll use the contextual leaning. So like, you know, don't get rid of this system. Just add your manual lean. What else did? I don't know why neither Battlefield, Battlefield and Battlefield COD does have a. It depends on the scope, right? Some scopes lets you switch in and out. You know, between like say like a 4x zoom or 8x zoom. Like it depends on the scope that you pick up or the magnifier that you add to your weapon. You can toggle between them. But the one and only game that I've seen, maybe there's others out there I haven't paid attention. I don't know, maybe in Squad Arma they do, but I think in Arma it's a pretty clunky system. It's just like press once it zooms like 3x, press again it zooms like 8x. It's the same thing as with COD and Battlefield. Like look, no one is saying Battlefield and COD are mill sims, right? So these games that sort of have arcade elements, or pretty much arcade shooters with realistic looking graphics, I mean, what the fuck? You might as well just go all in, right? If you're gonna be a game that has guys putting Claymore or C4 on, say for example like a Jeep, right? Why not have a scope system that allows you to zoom in and out, not like by ticks, but just by variable zoom, right? Variable zoom, smooth variable zoom. We're not talking about like press once, zoom once, press again, zoom 2x, 4x, 8x. I mean, if they have that system in here, I'll take it. But I like how they did it in PUBG, where if you scroll up or you scroll down, it zooms in and out, based on how much you're scrolling. I don't know if it's called incremental variable zoom, but it zooms as you scroll, and it's very smooth too. And there's probably a few older games out there that does that, and I was hoping some of the more bigger games have that system. It's kind of disappointing that they don't. I would like to see that, just smooth variable zoom. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you're not a millstone, right? It's not like this game touts itself against or puts itself out there against like Arma or Squad, in terms of realism. So why not have a nice quality of life feature? Even BattleBit doesn't have variable zoom in it. I'm very surprised that PUBG is the only one that I've seen that has a very smooth variable zoom. And they have their zeroing system. And Battlefield 4 had that already. I think COD also has the zeroing system as well. take this vehicle out the map here. Yeah, I mean, yeah, as I said, the optics does need some work. It looks like a flat 2D, you know, asset rather than a 3D model with like a holograph looking site. It looks very staticky, you know, rather than very animated.
Be advised with neutralized objective Bravo.
I mean, COD did it pretty well, right? They actually did nice. And one of the things I noticed about Battlefield 3 and 4 is that when you use the sniper scope, it's as though you put your eye right on the scope, which you know obviously not in real life. I mean, the game, as I said, the game is not touting itself to be a milsim, but the thing is it's so weird for the game to just like, you know, just straight up make the character put their eye right on the scope, so you can't even see outside of it. Like, I'll show you right now what I'm talking about. So in real life, if you were to look inside a scope, you're not gonna put your eye right on it like that, because when you shoot the dang gun, it's gonna recoil and then it's gonna hit you right in, you know, it's gonna give you like a nice black eye. And here, and literally you can't see nothing around the crosshair, or like sort of the housing there. In other games, like say for example like in Squad or COD or whatever like that, you'll be able to see around it. Your eyes are like, it has, you know, it's like it's a few inches out, so you still be able to see around it. And then, you know, inside obviously you see the lens and the crosshair. And in this game, the crosshair the lens doesn't exist, right? It's just nothing. There's nothing there. There's no like sort of magnification looking to it, or just like no like lens sort of distortion. It just looks like, you know, a line that was drawn right through. You know, they cut out a circle that you can view. Everything else is, you know, obviously darkened. So it's like they just put like a shape on the screen to make it appear as though, you know, you look into a scope. Obviously they did it for, you know, resources. Like, I could imagine if you render out a full like scope optic, or, you know, the lens or whatever, it takes up more resources, but I'm pretty sure that the Frostbite engine is perfectly capable of rendering. I mean, at this point, hopefully the new game in 2000, whatever Battlefield that comes after 2042 considers that, because it's just so weird. I mean, if you're gonna really try and compete against COD, you're gonna have to really nail down some finer details on, you know, some of the smaller details, right? Yeah, so like I haven't really found, I mean, none of the FPSs are perfect in my opinion, right? But some of them that do it really well, I mean, they do certain things really well, and other parts they don't. Like for example, Squad does the shooting mechanics really well, and, you know, the visuals really well, but their graphics, like textures and character models and, you know, environment is very lackluster. It looks like, I mean, you see how PUBG looks like? It looks like they copy pasted. So PUBG is like they took a world on the Unreal Engine. You know, they put some hills, they put some dents, you know, highs and low ground, and, you know, some elevation, whatever. And then they took assets, copy pasted, put it here, there, and here. You know, there's no, I mean, map design is kind of like barely there. I mean, there's probably people working on the map, but it just looks so sloppily put together. maybe some of the newer maps are more well designed, but yeah, it just doesn't look all that great. It's like just very little attention to details. There's very little, you know, actual. It feels like they sort of just threw a draft of a, you know, map design, and then they just sort of just like shipped it. I think, for example, a game with actual good environmental design was New World. You can tell they really sat down and put effort into it. You know, I wouldn't mind if developers use AI to design the environments. You know, as long as it makes sense and it looks good, then, you know, I'm okay with that, right? But if you do the PUBG route where you sort of copy paste and just sort of just multiply and then just, you know, auto generate it, then it looks so bad. I'd take an AI generated map, right? That's something. What happened? You okay, buddy? The hell was that? But yeah, I mean, look, obviously humans are better at designing, or, you know, they're more creative. But I wouldn't mind a little bit of both, right? You know, somebody to, I mean, look, if they want to save money, use AI to generate the environment, and then have a designer actually go in there and review it, and then change it up, make it look nice. But you know, use the AI as the AI generated map or world or environment as a baseline, and then have a human make the design, you know, have more sense to it. They can take a look at it and be like, okay, this doesn't make sense here, I'm gonna adjust it there. I think that's probably the best route. It's like a combination of, you know, both. I think AI does have its uses. It's just that you just gotta be able to balance it with, you know, actual human developers, people who actually know, you know, what people like, people who've done it for years and understand. Oh, I mean, it is HC, so they took more damage. I love this weapon. It's kind of a strange weapon. Like, not everyone likes the GM6 Lynx, right? The bullpup 50 cal sniper rifle or anti-material rifle. Most people love the intervention, which is, you know, the bolt action. I think it was a .408 round. Or the Barrett semi-auto 50 cal anti-material rifle. But I like the 338 Recon. It's really nice in this game. It's a bullpup 338 weapon system, sniper rifle. I mean, bullpups aren't, you know, I mean, long range sniping, you're not, if you're going for like max range, you're probably not gonna go for a bullpup. You're gonna go for, you know, something more traditional, you know, something that looks like a L115 or something. Or something like the AS50, I think. But you're gonna be looking for like a Macmillan style sniper rifle, or a Barrett rifle. The Barrett MRED, current sniper rifle, the U.S. military is starting to adopt. Or in here, the Gold Magnum is notorious. It's always the M90 M95. It's not the M98. I think the M82, right? M82 is the Barrett, and then M95B is the kind of like the bolt action equivalent. Why do I have this on hold? Here, let me change that real quick. Should be on toggle. Weapon zone. Steady scope, hold, soldier sprint. How do toggle? What about crouch? Key bindings, common, on foot. Oh, there it is. Oh, X's. Okay. Alright. I have both X.
Listen up, men. We have control of objective Bravo.
Oh, I have control on hold, but then X is toggle crouch. Oh yeah, free leaning is one of them. It's like finally, you know, battle. PUBG brought in the game. I mean, like, why can't you free lean in COD or Battlefield? Like, one of the things that I always use in like say PUBG or Ready or Not, free leaning, being able to look left and right without actually turning your weapon. You just want to peek left and right. I don't know if Rainbow does that, but you know, why are we missing such simple quality of life features? I don't say that, you know, either it's too resource intensive, it costs too much to animate, or, you know, none of that. DICE is backed by EA that has the money. Same with Activision, they have the money, just being lazy. Or, you know, that button is used for something else, you could just remap your button. Use, like in PUBG, alts, it's free leaning. And then whatever alt is in these games could be something else, right? And whatever those are is not really that important. Customize. Was it the M98B? Yeah, see. So, in COD, the second sniper rifle, the MW2, the second sniper rifle is the MRED, which is like the successor to this M98B. It plays out the same way, looks very similar, but theirs is, you know, the more, I think their stock is more solid. It's a pretty cool weapon system, but yeah, I mean, Barretts are pretty reliable. What is this? When did I get a suppressor? What the fuck? Well, that's nice. Oh, I never had a suppressor on here, did I? I think one of the weirdest things is that the color here is not like a solid gray or solid black. It's like, it's a very spotty looking color. You see here, it just looks so weird and rusted. I wish it was just like flat and matte. That would look nice. I would do like with solid black, right? That'd have been nice. Like here it's kind of solid green, right? Solid matte. And then here it's like bright blue. Went for like gray, but it's so, you know, rustic looking. What we're doing. Sometimes you want to be able to use the infrared. Sometimes you want to be able to use the whatever, the thermals or the infrared. And sometimes you want to be able to use just the regular zoom. Let's see. The frog foot? Mr. Cakeman over here. I don't have any repair kits though. So once this tank goes down, it's going down. I think tank warfare, you know, in this game is pretty cool. It's one of the few games where I actually hop in the tank and just really enjoy it. I mean, same thing with like helicopters and jets. It's not, you know, it's not as like complex or as advanced as like say World tanks, but it's still pretty fun. Well, that's kind of what happened there, guys. Low power.
Enemy tank. North of your location.
That's a fucking.
No longer have control over objective Charlie.
Whoa! What the hell? It's wild. It's gonna repair it. I'm just gonna cover.
Be advised. We now control objective Charlie.
I love being in the gunner seat, but then driving is also fun too, because you get to like sort of, you know, run over things.
Control is now lost.
But just being able to sit back and just shoot at things is pretty fun too. I think Armored Squad does it the best in terms of like the experience of, you know, actually sitting in like a vehicle and playing as a gunner or a driver. They do it really well. I mean, if you ever watch like a war documentary, whatever they do looks just like what you see in the documentary or the war tapes. It's surprisingly well simulated. Jesus, took the water to the face.
I've taken control of objective Alpha.
Or whatever. Artillery. Something's hitting us. Oh, good run, good run. I mean, we got quite a few kills on there. Yeah, that's why I say one of the most powerful, I mean, aside from like the jets and helis, is a tank. But, I mean, jets and helis are eventually able to take them down, but a really well-rounded like tank team will probably win the match. You know, obviously helicopters have its uses and jets for like taking down vehicles, but those are not the guys that are, you know, winning the match, right? It's their teammates that are doing work for them, and providing ground support. Because they, you know, obviously, if you have a really skilled pilot in this game, then yeah, they're gonna provide really strong air support for your infantry. But if anything, the tanks are probably one of the most important pieces, or any ground vehicle, whether it's like a transport vehicle or an actual what do you say, battle tank or whatever, main battle tank, will actually win the match. The thing is like each vehicle has its uses. Like helicopters and jets. Helicopters provide pretty good, close air support, and then obviously jets provide, air-to-air support, but then air-to-ground support too. And then your tanks provide ground support, and then your infantry provide ground air support, surface to air support. So it's like a nice balance of. That's why, like, I mean, back then, obviously, when I started playing like Battlefield 3 or 4, obviously, when you fought against like really skilled pilots, it's you would think that they're too OP or whatever like that, but actually, it's pretty balanced. We actually used to had more, like say for example the HIMARS or whatever you call it, the ground AAs, or the mobile AAs, the MAVs, whatever you call it, mobile anti-aircraft vehicles. I don't know what the acronym is, but those used to be pretty powerful. I mean, you'd had like 6 rounds in them, or was there like 8? Yeah, you would have 8 missiles in them, and then they lowered it down to 6. And I used to be like, oh, why did they nerf that? I really liked that because it helped with taking down like jets and helicopters and stuff. But now that I think about it, maybe, I mean, they did what they did for balancing reasons. And then the game is currently, it feels fairly balanced right now. I do see that people tend to gravitate towards certain things, like for example, like the assault rifles. Most of them go for the Ace, like the Ace 21 or Ace 52, or the I mean, back then it was always like the AK 74 or the AK 971. Right now it's still the AK 971 or the Ace 21 Combat or whatever. But yeah, back then it was like predominantly AK-74 and AK. But yeah, I mean, each weapon is unique. So I mean, there's always gonna be a pair of the same weapon that has the same stats, but the gunplay is gonna be a little slightly different. Hey, what the? My Twitch drops are not strange. Maybe I have to reopen the app. See, I don't know if, like for Twitch, mobile and computer, it will count as a view, right? So, say for example, BattleBet, you watch a streamer, and then the time. If you check the inventory, your drops inventory, then it'll show like, hey, it's counting towards your drop. But then, like, I feel like with the TV, it's kind of iffy, I heard that if you had like a stream muted or whatever, then it doesn't count. So what if I just lower the volume like that? Yeah, it's so weird. It's the weirdest thing. It's like there's someone having like the page, tabbed on a separate tab, and muted. Does it count as a view? I don't think so, Red. They had to be like they had to be unmuted. This motherfucker. There's just one thing that is about Battlefield is that they are really persistent, and they are really aggressive when it comes to how do you say, taking down vehicles. Like in Arma or Squad, it takes a team of, a team effort. It takes like a squad to take down the tank. Somebody has to lay down the mine. Somebody has to, you got 2 people hitting it, or 3 people hitting it with RPGs or whatever, or MLAWs. And usually it takes quite a bit of hits to get it down. In Battlefield, one soldier will literally go up to you, lay down those mines, pop you with, an RPG, and destroy you by himself. Destroy the tank by himself. And even if he died doing it, he can come back, respawn, and do it again. And that's always the funniest thing to me in this game. It's like people really love fishing. Like I call it like either hunting or fishing for vehicles to destroy. People love to destroy things. I think, and that's just like that's Battlefield type of thing. That's what they're known for. That's a Battlefield moment. That's why, obviously some of the mechanics are gonna be unrealistic, right? Like the way you set down your C4s or whatever, but who cares? Point is that you get to stick it onto something, you can explode it. You get to stick it onto like a building and knock it down. I just wish that they had actual physics-based destruction in this game. That'd have been really nice. But obviously, I mean, at the time that it was created, they probably had some resource limitations. Whether it's network or engine, how do you replicate that? But I would really like to see that in the new, the next generation or the next iteration of Frostbite. I think in this game they used the Frostbite 3 engine. Battlefield 3 uses Frostbite 2, if I can recall. Whoa. What the fuck? Okay. I did not, I mean, I heard it, but I didn't see it. Alright, buddy. Well, this is, thugs are useless in this map. Just gonna put this over here. Oh shit. Well, 1v1. I can't believe I actually won that fight. Oh shit. I'm getting shot at. Oh my god, if this game had BR, or if they had like, dived into the BR earlier, way ahead of like H1Z1, way ahead of PUBG, way ahead of Warzone, they would have really had something special there. But they were too late to the game. By the time they brought out the BR, Firestorm and Battlefield 5, it's too late. Everyone is playing Fortnite, PUBG, Warzone. Well, Warzone came out. Yeah, Warzone came out a little bit later, but Oh, Jesus. But yeah, it was too little too late. I mean, Warzone was kicking off, popping off. Yeah, it's like could have had something there that was just too slow to the punch. I don't know why. It's just that in this game, in Battlefield 3 and this game, they tuned the bullet drop really well. Like, it feels really good. PUBG did a pretty good job with it too. I think PUBG did it slightly better, by the way. Whenever you hit a shot, it was so rewarding because it was so difficult to land that shot. And here, it's more like a cleaner version. PUBG did it pretty well by itself, but I really like the mechanics they did it. They did in here. Battlefield 2 to 3 to 4. Even Battlefield 1. They still nailed the mechanics down really well. You can't really beat it. I think in terms of realism, you probably had to look at Armored Squad for long range sniping, because those games tend to be more long range firefights, and obviously those games are going to have a more physics based system. This game is like, it's not fully physics based, it's more like, I don't know the word, scripted bullet drop, if that makes any sense. Or maybe it's like half physics based, half scripted, I don't know. But you can tell it's consistent. Like the bullet drop will always be the same. Or the arc will be always the same every time. But yeah. It's done really well, and those militias done well, and PUBG's done really well here. I think my favorite would be here. As I said about this game, it's not the most realistic shooter out there, but it's one of the best feeling ones. Audio, obviously not the most realistic, but it still sounds fantastic. Graphics, fantastic. Obviously it's not the most realistic, right? It's not like we're not talking like full-on photorealistic, but it's still really good. And it still holds up too. I mean, if there's another Battlefield coming out in like say 2 or 3 years from now, and they dramatically upgraded the engine to Frostbite 4, and it's not like it's not any sequel to Battlefield 2042. More like a sequel to either Battlefield 4 or 3 or Bad Company 2. I mean, I'm paying attention. Like, I'm not gonna I don't know, the word is like hype. I don't want to hype it. I do anticipate that it's coming, but I don't want to like set my expectations too high. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen, and I don't want to hype myself up for it. It could end up flopping like Battlefield 2042. Who knows? What the fuck? Holy shit! I'd never seen the fucking A-10 drop a missile like that up close. Yeah, like, I want to temper my expectations, right? Or at least withhold my expectations withhold my high expectations first, because we don't know anything yet. Obviously, YouTubers and stuff, or streamers, will have better resources, or they pay more attention. They read the leaks in the news or whatever, so they will have a better idea of it. Right now, I don't have a single idea of what's going on, so I can't say I know anything yet. Come here. Alright. But if they just all they have to do is create, a sequel to Battlefield Bad Company 2 or a sequel to Battlefield 3 or Battlefield 4. Just leave off, continue where it left off there. Or, if they want to create a new campaign with an entirely new storyline, that's fine with me. Just bring back in the same things that you had in 3 and 4, make it better, obviously, polish it up, and bring some new quality of life improvements. And take a look at BattleBit, see what they did correct in terms of gameplay, mechanics, and, features, quality of life, and, just general gameplay. Then you have all the resources there, you have the feedback there. It's just a matter of, like, at the executive level, they just gotta find the right people to do it. Obviously it's not easy, right? You have to put together a team. I mean, they lost a good chunk of OG device developers, but maybe incentivize them to come back or something. I don't know. Give them something to look forward to. Or give them whatever those developers that originally made number 3 and 4. Just fuck it up. Increase their salary, increase their pay, give them better benefits, give them more vacation time. Give them more time off for like. Maternal, paternal leave,
I have eyes on an enemy AT soldier.
better insurance, let them work remotely, or let them choose between whether they can come to the office or work remotely. Like, don't push them around, don't give them arbitrary deadlines, based off of what stock shareholders and investors. Okay. I mean, it's not gonna happen, but that's probably the way forward. Right now, I mean, they're under DICE's wing, so they're kind of beholden. So they kind of had to have those, deadlines and shit. They had to push, for profit. But if DICE did not get bought out by EA, just give the team time. Don't if they they feel like they're not ready, then don't push them. It's like, imagine if you hire an artist, right, and then the first time he paints and does it, it's beautiful artwork, and then you're like, wow, that's doing great, and then you sell it and it sells for a lot, and then now you next time around, say that like the next year, like, okay, can you push up 2, right? And then they're like, okay, I can do that. So obviously they work a little bit more harder, but then you didn't increase his pay, or you didn't increase his benefits or his time off, so he's able to push 2, but those 2 aren't as good as when he painted 1, right? And then now they still sell for a decent amount. And then the next year, you tell them, I want 4, alright? But then same pay, or there might be potential that we have to cut your pay, but we still want you to push more out. And then the artist is, obviously not gonna do quite as well on those 4, and then it keeps so on and so forth. Like, now they have to churn out more and more artwork. And the sales are still there, but instead of it going to them as bonuses or raise, it goes to the lead, the executives. Those people get bonuses and raises, but the artists are getting nothing. They're just either being told that they get that same pay, or they get a pizza party, or just like a fuck you type of gift. And now they're, the artist is like, now they're no longer wanting to churn out like a nice painting anymore. They're like, okay, I have to push 100, otherwise, I'm gonna miss this deadline, and they're gonna, cut my pay or whatever. Oops. And then now they start, you got multiple devs, they're like, I'm calling it. It's not getting any better. I'm moving to a different company. With DICE, they had a mass exodus of, developers and staff members from their, due to leadership changes. And now, all you get, I mean, the end result was, you got, what, like Hardline, you got 2042, Battlefield 5. Those are kind of flops at that point. Battlefield 1 was a huge success, but I'm pretty sure that the developers that worked on it got probably, burnt out from everything. And that's the dangers of, like, if you're a small development studio and you get bought out by like a large company, and then they start changing leadership up, start pushing deadlines, putting more projects, putting more weight on developers, not giving them time. And then, the game's probably not polished by that deadline, and then the developer like, hey, we might need more time. Let's hold off for now. It's not gonna be quite as polished, on release day as we would hope for. So let's push it. Let's push it back. And then, those executive leaderships are like, no, man, we gotta push this deadline because that's what we told the shareholders and investors, on the calls, shareholder calls, whatever. So we gotta really push to get this game out as soon as possible. We want to make that profit margin, and then it starts flopping, and then the community's pissed. Start blaming the developers, and then at the end of the day, it's always gonna be comes down to leadership. I think in most times that things like that happen is because the devs have their hands tied. They're obviously, not all devs are perfect, but I think for the most part, all the ones that are actually pretty skilled are probably moving to, a company with better benefits or better treatment, better pay, better treatment, staff members from like higher ups. So most times they end up going back to a smaller company, just like how they started off with. And it's always the same, it's like it's a vicious cycle. You see that all the time. So, looking at BattleBit, I just hope that, it's whatever. If a publisher comes in and be like, hey, can we partner up with you, or hey, can we buy out your franchise? Like, whatever the developers do, good for them. Let's just hope that they make the best choices for the game and, for their team. Like, if anything, if man, I'm missing. Look, if they choose to be bought by a company, please, for the love of God, do not be Tencent. Like, out of all the companies that you can choose, obviously they're not gonna. That's not the number one choice. Or at least I hope. But don't take the Tencent route. They will out bid Microsoft and Sony in the best possible way to try and acquire. Like, there's probably a good reason why Riot Games or GGG decided to go with Tencent, right? They probably gave the best offers and the highest amount. Tencent doesn't care. They know that, you know, the franchise, the game itself is more valuable than that short term, like what, couple million that they lose buying them out. Like, if it was like yeah, if it was like a bidding show, right, or one of those I don't know what you call it, but Tencent will just completely outdo you. Like, say for example, like Sony, they bid for like $1 million, Microsoft went for 5 million, Tencent, fuck it, they would just bid like 5 million, fuck it, and then because as long as they secure the deal, that 5 million to them is like nothing, right? Because they see that the game is gonna make up that 5 million in a couple of years, so it's not really anything to them. But you know, I really hope that, you know, whether it's Sony or whether it's Microsoft, just not Tencent. And then, you know, from the tops down, I would say avoid Tencent, avoid EA. Right. 2 right off the bat. 3 is probably avoid Activision. And then obviously Sony and Microsoft. Right? You don't want to be bought out by those guys. Like, they will. The thing is like Microsoft, you just never know. You just never know whether they're gonna run your game down to the ground. Ow. Jesus. Because that's what they're known for doing, right? Like, they're known, like Sony and Microsoft, they're known for buying out smaller companies, smaller dev studios, canceling the project, just dissolving, you know, that department. You just buy out the competition and you kill it. So, if anything, I hope that if BattleBit gets an offer, it would be from Team 17. You know, the guys that are publishers for Hell Let Loose and all those. Just a good chunk of like the Worm series or whatever. But I would say Team 17 would be the way to go for them. I mean, given the success of Hell Let Loose, that would be the right company to go. I think they're more like indie friendly. I mean, even if they did, you know, get bought out by Sony or Microsoft, you know, obviously we're gonna be salty about it, but I don't think there's anything worse than if they get bought out by Tencent. Because with Tencent, I guarantee you, they will introduce microtransaction system into the game, and then they will introduce loot crates and battle passes and anything they can to squeeze money out of players. And look, there's people out there who don't mind having microtransactions in games. Obviously, if you have like free game or you have a game that's only, you know, like $10, $15, and it relies on donations, that's okay. Like, if you're a free-to-play game, you made a game out of passion and you want to monetize it, microtransactions are okay. But when you're, to me, is when you're a $70 game, a full-price game made by a company that has capital, multi-million-dollar, multi-billion-dollar company, and you still want to monetize a full-price game at $70 in this day and age, there's something wrong. And then there's like, I don't know why, I see larger streamers like who are like fairly wealthy, they're like multi-millionaires, they're like, oh, it's no big deal, You know, if you can't afford a $70 game, something's wrong with you. Just, you know, who gives a shit about microtransactions? If you don't, just don't use that system. Those type of people are so out of touch, and out of touch with reality, and then out of touch with the community, gaming community, and you know, kind of backwards and everything. And then as much as they say like, oh, you know, I'm not a corporate shill, I'm not a Blizzard shill, I'm not an Activision shill or Sony or Microsoft shill, but they're literally doing mental gymnastics and shilling to, you know, shitty business practices and corporate propaganda, and like, you know, just propaganda essentially. Like every time I see those streamers, like, you know, go out there, like, you know, there's, you know, $70 is not a big deal, microtransaction not a big deal. I'm like, I mean, look, nobody's saying that you should never have microtransactions in the game. Nobody's saying that games shouldn't be $70, but it had to be a really damn good game. That's a lot of money. $70 is like a fucking family meal, right? And then for people to, you know, justify a virtual game, a virtual asset in real life, $70, you know, no, games are not due for inflation. Games are not milk, bread and butter, eggs. It's not the same thing. But you can churn out movies after movies. Those are not worth $70, right? If say today movies were on average like $10, and then all of a sudden a Marvel movie came out $70, is that, you know, what justifies that? What, because they use what, more AI? I mean, more like, what, because there's more A-list actors in there, or because the graphics are better? No, you can hardly ever justify something like that. So for a video game, it's like, well, what justifies COD being a $70 game? It's just almost the same as Modern Warfare 1, right? It's just a better version, a better looking version, or not even better, it's slightly better looking, you know. Modern Warfare 1 was $70 at, you know, the time you buy it. It's like, no, we're not due for a price increase in games. Games are due for a price reduction, given, you know, the shitty amount of games that are put out there, and given the amount of games that have started introducing battle passes and, you know, shitty microtransaction systems that allows you to progress faster, loot crate systems, any sort of gambling system, anything with like RNG. Like those are, you know, shitty. I mean, I feel like a lot of game companies got away with shitty business practices for too long. We're not due for a price increase here. I mean, look at the efforts that were put into like some of the, you know, a lot of games that flopped this year alone, like Golem, you know, Battlefield 2042, that vampire game, you know, this whole, you know, bunch of really shitty games developed by multi-million-dollar companies. You know, what makes them $70, right? What? Why is the consumer paying that, footing the bill for what? It's like having a car, right? Maybe this year it was really well done. Next year it's shitty, but then the price increased for what? They did a poor job. They used shittier materials. The computer system inside works worser. the lighting system is worse. Transmission sucks. So what exactly are consumers paying for? And why are they footing the bill? If anything, it should be the companies that's footing the losses there, not the consumers. But yeah, it just kind of bothers me that you see some streamers so out of touch, like multi-million-dollar streamers, sort of like shilling for companies and sort of like trying to shut down legit criticism from the community. And we're not talking about like a loud minority. We're talking about, you know, a majority opinion. But I just see that too often with large streamers. They grow super out of touch, and then to them, $70 like it's like a drop in the bucket for them. So they, obviously they don't care, right? The money's nothing to them. And when people point that out, they get really defensive. Like, oh no, don't make this about income. Well, thing is like, yeah, and I've seen like some large streamers, they'll be like, it sounds like the stupidest thing I've ever heard is they'll say, if you can't afford $70, then you shouldn't be, should be evaluating your life. This is more about, $70. I mean, if you ever complain about a phone being $1,000, it's a valid complaint, right? Because it not only affects yourself, but it affects other people. Like people are stupid buying it at that price, right? But companies are getting away with it. That's the problem. Same with Nvidia cards. They're getting away with jacking up the price, doubling it, almost tripling it. So they're like testing the water, how much they can push, how much price increase they can push onto the consumers before the consumers actually start criticizing them, right? And to see multi-million dollars go in there and be like, oh, why are you complaining? It's you as a consumer. You can just choose not to buy it. Yeah, of course people are not going to buy it, but they also get that their criticism of the company is perfectly valid too. They get to say like, hey, why are you pushing out a graphics card that is only 10% better than its predecessor? But then you double the price. You go from like $500 graphics cards to $1,000. Now it's $1,500. Like, and it's not getting any significantly more better. So, people should be able to voice their concerns over that. And to see out of touch streamers go on the stream live in front of thousands of people and say like, hey, your complaints are stupid. I'm tired of hearing this over and over. Just don't buy it. All while they have it because look, that $1,000 to them is worth almost nothing. Right? It's so small compared to what their income is. So they got their product, and then to them it's like, it's nothing to them. And then when they hear people complain about it, they're like, just don't be poor. So out of touch. That's why some streamers I cannot like. I'd had to like unfollow and subscribe to them because like some of them are becoming so out of touch. I mean, there are a good amount of larger streamers out there who are still, are still decent people, but I mean, you can tell when the money has inflated people's egos. And personally, I hope like, if I were to become or be a large streamer, I just hope that, really, really hope that I don't become out of touch like that. But yeah, I mean, on the topic of BattleBit, yeah, let's just hope that if they do a partnership or a buyout, then let's hope it's Team 17. As long as it's not Tencent, as long as it's not EA. Microsoft or Sony or Activision, and they're set. I say Team 10's, Team 17 is the way to go. I mean, look what happened with Activision. Look what happened with Dice. When Dice got bought up by EA, and then Activision got bought up by which one? Activision's Activision, right? They bought up Blizzard.
I spotted an enemy light armor vehicle located to the south.
发现敌对防空单位。
They start churning out game after game that are just not good. Like, as I mentioned, COD, MW1 and MW2, in my most honest opinions, are nowhere above an 8. I would say like 7. 6 to 7, right? I mean, they still look good, they still sound good, they still play well, but I can't really faithfully put them above an 8. I'd say at least like 6.5 to 73 or something like that. I can point out a lot of issues with them if I start playing them again. But, right now I don't remember everything about them since I haven't played in a while. But I can tell you that the game doesn't give me a very good feeling about it. It's like it feels like, it doesn't feel like an artwork, right? But it never touts itself to be. It feels like just a product. The same way like people with iPhone, right? Like, every year they get, a new one. They just don't feel the same satisfaction. Every time they get a new iPhone, there's like, it's less and less. Like the more COD that is being churned out, every iteration, you just get less and less satisfied with it. It just feels like it's just the same thing over and over. Like, make a mistake. It's not a bad game, right? It's just a decent game, but it's nothing more. It's nothing to revel about. It's it does, hit a little bit. It doesn't quite quench the thirst, right? It sort of eases the itch, like the FPS itch, but it doesn't relieve it. I think that's where, BattleBit, obviously, if you can ignore the graphics, for a lot of people who came from like a COD or Battlefield background or whatever, no sim, whatever, the game has become like a remedy to like a long dry spell for the FPS community. People who love, gamers who love playing FPSs or shooters. It's like right now it's the only real remedy out there. Because, I mean, think about it. If BattleBit wasn't here now, all you have is CSGO, you have Valorant, you have COD, Battlefield, Rainbow. But how many of those players genuinely say they're happy with the game? How many of them rate them, at an excellent level? Anywhere between like an 8, to 10. I personally, I can't even rate Battlefield 4 as Game of the Year, right? When it came out, I was very unhappy with it. Same thing with Modern Warfare 1 and Modern Warfare 2. I mean, those are decent games, but I wouldn't call them Game of the Year, and I would not rate them above a 9 or a 10. I would never rate them at a 10. It had to be a really high, 10 is a really high bar that, I have yet to see a first-person shooter out there actually reach. Like, to me, Battlefield 3 realistically was like an 89, right? Battlefield 4 on release, 85. By the time they finished with all the DLCs and polished up the game, it sits at like a 92 or 93. But it's not going to sit at a 10. Like a game that sits at like a 98 would probably be like games that I haven't even played, like a Zelda or something. Elden Ring, Siskero, whatever, Horizon. There, those games are like sitting at a high 90, the upper 90s. But um yeah, like I don't know. I just feel like maybe my expectations for shooters are much more strict and much more expectations are what much higher than average. Like people who aren't dedicated like FPS gamers. They're more like variety. I mean, the average gamer is probably they're not just FPS gamers. They play other genres and stuff like that. So maybe for me, having a long history of playing shooters, whether it's third person or first person shooters, probably my expectations are significantly higher. But you know, I feel like in the average FPS gamer out there, or average shooter gamer that used to play either third person, first person shooters, like I've enjoyed games like Halo, Gears of War, stuff like that, Killzone, what you call it? What was it? Resistance. Sci-fi shooters are fine too. I tend to gravitate toward the most like the modern settings.
Grenade out!
But I don't know. Personally, I don't feel like my expectations are that crazy high. Games are just such low quality that the bar is so low at this point. Yeah, the bar was lowered by these, the amount of shitty games that came out. The bar is so low that BattleBit is the go-to game. No offense to BattleBit, it's actually a great game. It's just that that's all we got. That's the only decent game we got right now. Look, people are always gonna play search and destroys like CS:GO or Valorant, or arcade shooters like Battlefield, COD, Halo, Gears. But does it mean that they love the game? Probably not. It's just what we got. All that they got to sort of just chill and relax to. But it's like having a bag of potato chip. It's like, yeah, sure, it's nice to have now, but then once the potato chip, I mean, at the end of finishing that bag, you're like, why did I do that? Oh, this guy with the shotty. Jesus. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit.
We neutralized objective Bravo. I say again, objective Bravo is neutralized.
Put that up there.
Objective Bravo is now in our control.
Charger Bravo is now under our control. I can get a clear shot on him. Yeah, so in this game there is like variable zoom, but it's just only you cycle between 1 or 2 zooms, and that's really it. So you hit, for me, I hit T and it zooms between like 4x and 20x. I mean 4x and 8x or something. Like, it's okay, but I wish they went the PUBG route and just did variable zoom. Just scroll up and down, you zoom in and out. nice and smoothly. Just how you would on like an actual scope. Ow. Oh wow, I've yet to see somebody actually use the Scar HSV. Oh, okay, so my drops did come up. I was like, why is mine going up? Anyways. Why am I sniping in the first place? Why do I have a tugs? Is the it's not really useful. PLD. I'll just use the PLD for now. It'll help me acquire some targets. Motor. Smart anti-tank missile that automatically detects vehicles near the warhead and guides to the target. Easy to use but low damage from all angles of attacks. I think so many games they make the RPG better than it really is. Like, I don't know why. It's just like they make the damage ridiculously high compared to the more modern Western weapons. It's like, it's kind of like Hollywood. It's just like an over exaggeration because RPG is not that all that much really compared to like a modern rocket launcher that does probably way more damage. Wired anti-tank, so it's wrong. I think I'll do a small.
Objective Golf is now neutralized.
Move and steady. Move and steady.
Objective Charlie's been lost.
Like sort of scanning the sky a little bit. I always wonder why pilots they sort of like swivel left and right. Maybe it's because they're sort of like surfing. I think I feel to me it's like they're like surfing the wind, right? Like you won't be able to see it, but then they're like, I mean they're traveling through like turbulent wind or whatever, or fast moving wind or air. So that's probably makes sense why they kind of do that. I mean imagine how you would be in like water, right? So it's kind of, I think it's probably the same concept. Oh. Oh man. Didn't get to pull up in time. Feels bad. Okay, let's go help this guy out. I think he's gonna need it. You know what would be a really great idea? Okay, one, Battlefield, new one, right? Don't call it 1678. Don't give it a number, right? Because it's confusing. Right now it's Battlefield 2, Battlefield 2, Battle Complete 2, Battlefield 3, 4, 5, Hardline 1, 2042. The numbers convolute. It's, you know, convolutes the title and the name, and it makes it nauseating, right? I'm perfectly fine if they just go straight up just Battlefield. That's it, just Battlefield. Or you know, if they're going, I don't think they will. They're gonna double down on World War II. It's already overdone. They did Vietnam War. I don't mind. Or you know, the 1970s Cold War stuff. Like I don't mind that.
Enemy infantry has been spotted south of your location.
I don't think he sees me.
Objective Foxtrot has been lost. Taking objective Charlie. I'm on the hostile boat. Hostile boat west of your location.
There's got to be somebody here. Oh, finally my teammate spawned on me.
Objective Foxtrot is now in our control.
Scheiße. I don't know if the boat's capping it or just like infantry. Oh man. Somebody's capping it. I can't see them from my angle. Oh. Nice. Oh, they're out. It's not going. Today was pretty wild in terms of temperature. I mean, think this, right? Like, but when it gets stormy, it gets pretty crazy.
Heads up, hostile soldiers.
I mean, I would have loved to see a BR in this game, or it's a survival mode or something,
Neutralized
an open world, you know, sort of mode. Because this game does pretty well. It's that, you know, I really wanted to see the game in an open world form. Persistent open world.
It's ours. Eyes on a hostile boat north of your position.
Chill, give away our possession. Me and this guy's just hiding in the bush right now.
Fucking AT sighted!
And we're just chilling, Alright, looks like the people who are capping this may have left. Or maybe they didn't leave. They realized that the
Objective Foxtrot is now
point is being uncapped, so they're like, okay, alright, come back. We don't know where these guys are. We're gonna try to recap it. We'll just kind of work it out from here. Our heli, the guys, I don't know if that was my teammate that ran past me, but I'm not moving an inch. Alright, that was my teammate. That little helo guy really helped us. Oh fuck, dude. There we go.
Foxtrot has been neutralized.
This guy is nuts.
Objective Foxtrot is now under our control.
We got it. We did it, boys. I like that the fact that they let you change the color of the holograph. That's, you know, the dot sights and stuff. The optics, or yeah, the sights. The sights optics. I think I had this at blue, but green also works really well too. Green or red. It's just low rendered because I have to keep the graphics on low. Alright, let's move. Yeah, I mean, it's still a beautiful game. Obviously, it's not like photorealistic, like, I don't know what's out there. But it's still a nice looking game. I'm gonna go help this guy out. I think Levolution was kind of cheesy. It was cliche. It's scripted like destruction. I just wish that they opted in for a physics-based destruction. I mean, look at what Battlefield did. Look at how it was in Battlefield 3. You know, just better destruction system. The game, you know, obviously there's gonna be some structures that you just can't destroy, like a bridge or whatever, or a pillar. But I want to be able to see like buildings go down, and not just, you know, just you hit 4 points on the, you know, 4 of the same points and the building falls the same way every single time. I don't want to see that. I actually want to see people knocking down walls and structures and making meaningful changes to the battlefield. Okay. But yeah, still to me one of the best in terms of gameplay mechanics, visuals, and audio. Audio, I don't know any game that nails it. I mean, Squad does a pretty good job at Insurgency, you know, in terms of realism. Arma does a pretty good job too. If you mod it, even better. You know, JSRS or Dragonfire, whatever you call it. But the one that sounds the best to me is 3 and 4. It's just like it's really well done. And oh, also Battlefield 1 too. Battlefield 1 probably has one of the best. I mean, it was one of the best looking FPS shooters that currently. Even more immersive than, but even at some point, especially with their photogrammetry. So at some point, the game looked way more realistic. Because they do like scanning and stuff like that. So it comes out way, you know. If you ever seen Battlefield 1 on the highest graphics compared to 4 and Battlefield 3, Battlefield 1 probably looks the best. And they also nailed it with the audio too. So graphically really well done. Audio very well done. Gameplay mechanics, shooting mechanics, really well done too. They nailed it with them. I'm pretty sure that all of those developers that were really skilled left after Battlefield 1. But yeah, that was a really well done game. I wish I played it more, you know. I know my older brothers really enjoyed it. That was his first time playing Battlefield 1 or any Battlefield, because he usually plays COD. And he played Battlefield 1 and, you know, loved the game. You know, even continued playing it even after Battlefield, what do you call it? 5 came out in 2042. I mean, he's tried those games too, and he still considers Battlefield 1 better. I think he started off actually with Hardline. It was kind of funny because he played Hardline, and he did play. I did buy him number 4 so that he can play it. He did like it, but you know, number 1 was his, like, you know, that was his favorite, and I think that's with good reason too. 'Cause the game is actually pretty good. I just wish whatever they did with 1 had it in the modern settings. Perfect. They nailed it. They would have nailed, like, they would have gotten a pretty good score with the community. Like, think like that. Like, the same team who worked on Battlefield 1, everything they did in there, put it into a modern setting, or a near future, or, you know, near future modern setting. Boom. There you go. The shooting mechanics are on point. The graphics are on point. The audio is on point. Like how, you know. And it really pushes the Frostbite 3 engine too. Like, what else can you do at that point? It's quality of life stuff. And more weapon variety. Yeah, I mean, if I had like a wish list of, you know, the next Battlefield, a more advanced weapons attachment system, you know. It doesn't have to be the gunsmith, right? Do something better, but just give us a lot more options. I mean, have you seen the customizability of BattleBit? Have you seen the customizability of the gunsmith in COD Modern Warfare 2? What about the customizability in Escape from Tarkov? If anything, EFT has one of the most advanced customization systems that I've seen in any FPS. Maybe there's something out there that does it more, but that one really goes down into it, like level of detail. So, you know, a more advanced weapons attachment system, more weapon variety. They don't have to do, you know, the receiver system like COD does it. COD is like, I can see why they did it that way, but I'm on the fence with that. Like, it's okay, but it's too confusing. Like, I don't want to have to play a shotgun to unlock an attachment on my sniper rifle or something like that. It's just weird, and I don't think that's the future of the attachment system. Like, it would make more sense is if you play, you know, within the same class, right? If, for example, you're playing a sniper rifle and then you unlock this, then it unlocks for all other sniper rifles. You don't have to do it again on the next rifle. Like, if I'm playing like a intervention and then unlock like a 12x zoom, then it should unlock it for all the other sniper rifles. I don't have to do it again on the next rifle. Like, if I ended up playing with a Barrett, I don't have to grind again for that 12x. Like, it would totally suck. And that's what they I think that's kind of where Battlefield kind of did it wrong, is that, you know, you had to regrind the attachment again for the weapon. Like, I want to spend less time grinding for the weapon or the level and more time actually enjoying the game, right? I don't want to make it all about, you know, I gotta do this and this and this to unlock this. Like, it makes me feel like I'm grinding when it, you know, I just want to be able to sit down and play the game and enjoy the mechanics. This is a very nasty weapon. Got him right in the butt. Yep, that's a 50 cal for you. I mean, it's one of the few, I mean, look, if a 50 cal hit you in the leg, half your body's gone. I mean, you'll still survive, but if it hits you in the chest or anywhere near the torso, you're a goner. Like, half your body's gone. It's instant death. So, if they hit you in the leg, you're probably gonna bleed to death. I mean, that's catastrophic, absolute destruction of, like, your body. So I can see why they decided to remove 50 cals as part of a loadout, because it's devastating. It's hard to balance it. Like, it technically is able to one-tap you in real life. I mean, whatever, even if you have like tier 3 armor or helmet, it's gonna one-tap you. You know, anywhere from like the upper body, like your torso to your head. Obviously, those are insta-kill. If it's on the limbs, it's only a matter of time before you end up dying. Anyways, like, there's no way you're gonna be able to heal on the battlefield with a, you know, your entire limbs just completely off. your legs just completely wiped out. Half your body's like, you know, a quarter of your body's gone. So I'd probably be doing like a 95% damage to you, and then that remaining 5% is you bleeding out. Right? Some games get lazy. They just, it's one tap to all parts of the body. But I feel like they could have done it better, right? Hit for a really large amount, and then for that remaining second, if they don't, heal like a medic, then they just die, right? Rather than like a full-on one tap. Now it makes sense to have it one tap to the torso or to the head. That makes sense. It's just one tap, it's gone. It's over. But on the limbs, at least like hit for like 95, 96, right? And then for that 4%, let them bleed out. At least it gives them like a little chance to maybe try and find somebody to heal them. I think that's a little bit more fair. But one tap to the limb is always really stupid. One tap to the foot or hands. Never really down for that. It makes sense that you have him bleed out, like rather than full on one tap. Obviously, he's gonna hit like a really large vein or something, or a blood vessel, just lead to death, but it shouldn't be like instant like that. What else? More weapon variety, but you don't want redundancy. So if you're gonna have like MP5 or the anything like along the M5K or whatever, like have a category for them, right? I have a G36, when I click on it, it opens up to more different weapons, and then you have your G36C, you have your G36K, or whatever, right? So you have MP5, you have the MP5 A1, A2, A3, A4, A5, whatever, M5K, whatever. Just like do it more smartly. Like for example, like the like the M4s and M16, such a similar system, rather than I mean technically they're different, but you can easily just do like you could just do like an M4, and then you click on it, I'll let you choose between the M4 and then the M4A 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever, and then M16. They could be separate, it doesn't matter. But similar weapons should be categorized together. And obviously, a lot of games, what they like to do is they like to separate it, right, into like SMGs, LMGs, assault rifles. I think COD's the first time I seen a game introduce the battle rifle. And I thought it was strange, but it starts to make sense now that I think about it, because it's not exactly a marksman rifle, but it's a little bit more powerful than a assault rifle. But for me, the only time I would categorize something into the battle rifle category would be like if it uses a marksman round, but it uses it like a assault rifle. So we're talking like Scar H. The G3, I mean technically the AK-47 would fall into that category because it uses a 7.62 by 39, I believe. And technically that is the SKS and SVD rounds. The Scar H uses, and the G3, it uses it uses the 7.62 by 51, the NATO rounds, right? And those are usually used for marksman rifle. So any gun that fires like an assault rifle, but uses a marksman round, I would put them into the battle rifle category. Well, it's gonna be kind of weird though, because like once you get like the Sig Sauer MCX Spear weapons, those are, you know, I mean, those are using rounds. I think it was like the, is it the 408 or 44 something, 445? I can't remember. It's slightly higher than a 556. Oh no, not 408. What am I saying? 6.5, right? It's either 6.5 or 6.8. I can't remember the exact number, but it's bigger than a 556 round, but smaller than a 762 round. So it's like in between. It like kind of like hits that sweet spot. I think it's a 6.8. 6.8 by 51 millimeter. So it's like a shorter version of a 762, a more stubbier version. So yeah. Yeah, more weapon varieties, like, and oh please, for the love of God, don't use fake weapon names. Just spend the money to license, you know, to purchase the license to be able to use the real gun name. I mean, what are you doing, Activision? What are you doing, DICE? You have the backing of EA, you have the backing of Activision Blizzard, and now you have the backing of Microsoft. You have the fucking money to do it, and be able to put the actual names of the weapons here. I want to be able to see the name, the AK-47, the Scar H, Scar L, the M4 A4s or M4 A3s, M16s, you know, the G36s, MP5s, P90s, you know, the Chaytech intervention, the Chaytech M200 intervention. Like, I don't want to see like fucking, oh my god, like in COD is like the weirdest thing ever. Squall, fucking broadside, like what? Come on now. It's just so, it's so weird. I mean, you know, not everyone really cares. They'll just go by the name the game puts it, but it's like, come on, could have didn't. Could have just gone with the actual names. Like, of course they're gonna have the M4 and 216. Those are not like trademarked, I think. Well, it's probably trademarked by the military, but you know, you're free to use it. But they couldn't even have made the AK-74 and the 47. They couldn't have put those names in there. Like, what company's gonna go out, like, what is Kalashnikov gonna do when they're sanctioned? They're not gonna sue Activision from fucking, you know, all the way from across the sea. And there's also historic weapons too. At this point they're in the museum, so why not just use the actual name? RPK, RPD, AK-47, AK-74, AK-971, and what the? You better be scared. Yeah. So there's that thing for me. Physics system, you know, destruction-based physics. I mean, physics-based destruction, physics-based bullet projectile, you know, ballistics. Like, every projectile in this game, whether it's a bullet, it's a rocket, grenade, should count as a projectile. Meaning that they have travel time, they have velocity, and then they have, you know, drop, right? One can only wish to have windage in this game, meaning that wind actually affects the trajectory, but whatever, they probably won't add that because it's too complicated. But I would love to see that. So physics-based projectiles for, you know, bullets and launcher, like rockets and grenades and anything that flies. Right. Got him. Physics-based destruction. I don't want to see that scripted evolution. It's cliche, it's cheesy, it's marketed BS. I mean, it's cool when you know when you see it, but I actually want to see actual destruction. I want to be able to flatten, you know, a village or something. More weapon variety. Not just newer weapons. You know, make sure to bring back some familiar weapons like your FAMASs, your P90s, Rosas. You know, old weapons like your 47, AK-74, AKs. I want to see some really nice, familiar sniper rifles. The L96, even the L115. And I also want to see, you know, the most modern weapons too. Like I want to see what the weapons that are currently in use in, like, say, the Russian army or the, you know, U.S. army, or, you know, British or French army. I want to see what they have right now. Like I want to see the SIGs MCX Spear. I want to see, you know, the modern AK. I want to see the SCAR in there. I mean, even weapons that, you know, never made it. I think that's something that COD did, where they brought in weapons that are like, that were concepts or that competed in like the next gen battle rifle or something like that, next gen rifle or whatever. I think there's some weapons in this game too that you know, never, you know, made it into the military, but they still were developed and, you know, sold by the company that made it. But yeah, I want to see some like cooling stuff. And obviously weapon balancing. So I think what they did here in this game is fine with regards to the really high powered rifles, like, you know, your 50 cal Barrett, your M82s. That's fine. Making it a field weapon instead of a loadout weapon, that's the only way you can balance it. Otherwise, you have to completely gut the weapon itself, and then, you know, it loses its identity. So it's better to just make it a field drop. That way, it still, you know, it still has that notoriety, but, you know, it's harder to get, right? Like, you know, it's still the same 50 cal that can one tap, but you can make it limited to being a field drop. So yeah, they did balancing here pretty well. I mean, when the game launched, it was kind of like, yeah, you know, they could have done better, but in this current state, it's more polished and more balanced. I know that the Sega is still in the game. The USAS they had to remove. That gun is just insane. And every Battlefield, the USAS, always, you know, just too hard to balance. Just made it a field drop, a field weapon, which I'm okay with. The USAS is notorious. I wish they did that with a lot more semi-auto shotguns, but they did tone down their damage to get them in line. But, you know, if they're gonna do that with the USAS, they should have done it with the Sega 12K as well. Because I know that in this game, they still have the Sega, they still have the Dial 12, which can be pretty impressive. Yeah, I would love to see the distinction between the assault rifle, carbines, and battle rifle. Like, I at first I was confused with that. You know, what the hell is a battle rifle? But it's starting to make sense, and you know, I'm okay with that. More, you know, more categories and better distinctions of what they are, as long as they're accurate. You know, doesn't matter. What else? Oops. You know, the funny thing about carbine is that I think that they were meant to distinguish weapons that were, you know, between an assault rifle and a marksman rifle. I think. But instead we got a battle rifle to take that spot. So, like, I feel like for me in this game, carbine represents weapons that are between a submachine gun and an assault rifle. I think that's the way it's supposed to be. I don't know. I don't know my I don't know weapon lingo or too much about that. Oh shit, I just saw his laser. I'll probably call it here at 9:30 because I don't want to stay up too late there, and I also got a lot of catch up to do tomorrow. But I will be fine. Just that I just want to keep it consistent. So anywhere between 9:30 to 10:30 is my streaming time. Well, it really depends. Like if I ate dinner, then 10:30. But if I haven't ate dinner, then 9:30 would probably be the best time to end, so I can go to eat and sleep.
Listen up. Enemy tank due north of your location.
Just wanna right now, right? I'm pretty hungry, and if I'm gonna go eat, by the time I get back, it's like 10 something. So that pretty much is that. I wouldn't have much time to do anything there, so I'd probably just have to end the stream there. Anyways, yeah, it makes sense to just call it 9:30 there. Why am I not playing Diablo today on Battlefield? I don't know, I just had an itch for Battlefield. Like here and there I would jump into Battlefield because think about it, this Battlefield 4 was the reason why I built my computer, was to run Battlefield 4. Before that I was playing on the PS3. Or was it the PS4? It was PS4. Oh, it was the PS3. But I didn't own the PS4. Ouch! Got hit by ice rain. Yeah, I mean, there's still stuff to do in Battlefield and stuff like that, but yeah, there's still unlocks to do in Battlefield. There's still stuff to do in Diablo. It's just I like to jump into Battlefield. I mean, Battlefield here and there, just to see what's going on. Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do, like in terms of like, so I do want to put together more stuff on YouTube, but I'm gonna have to record and edit. So the thing is, I don't know how to do. I only know how to cut and render. Rendering is it's a fancy word for just hitting a button and then the computer does this thing. Or just your After Effects or DaVinci Resolve or Sony whatever Premiere, Sony something Studio, it converts the video into a format, compresses it properly or whatever. It does this thing so that it's readable on everywhere else. The only thing I know to do is just trim down a video and then just export it, and that's it. I think one of the things, like, I wanted to do stuff with originally what I wanted to do was stuff with like League, and then stuff with Battlefield, and then later on I wanted to do stuff with PoE, Perfect, so and then later on I wanted to do stuff with Ready or Not, Arma, Daisy. I mean, there's Battlefield. I mean, not Battlefield. There's Diablo. There's BattleBit. So there's potential there. But I mean, as you know, I mean, those games are really popular right now. So there's thousands and thousands of people publishing content too. So the question is, what can you do differently? What can you do that's interesting? That's Stalin. That looks like if Lukashenko and Stalin gave birth to a old ass dude, and yeah, it's just a mix between both of them.
Objective Alpha
Oh
has been
shit,
taken.
let's go.
Own Objective Alpha.
Whoa, buddy. Chill out, son. Yeah, let me give this a try. I got this. Let's get this back up in the air, boys. Whoa. We're going down, mayday. Shit. I didn't get really far with that. Oh yeah, this game needed the climbing mechanics. I did admit that the vaulting and climbing in COD is pretty. It's probably one of the best I've seen in any shooter. I think Battlefield 1 and 5 did it okay. 2042 maybe, but COD did it. It's really smooth. I mean, it obviously is very unrealistic, but you know, you'd be able to hop and jump everywhere and climb ledges and stuff. I mean, the only thing I don't like about, well, one of the main things I don't like about COD is the runny, gunny, hoppy, you know, drop shotty, bunny hoppy, slide shooty. I don't like that at all. And I wish they nerfed the accuracy for those. You know, as soon as you are enter those animations, as soon as you exit them, the accuracy should be, you know, discourage you from relying on them for shooting. I get people who like, you know, crouch it and shoot. Okay, whatever, everyone does it. But you know, abusing like a you know, a gameplay mechanic that normally is for like evasion, you know, it's kind of cringy. So I wish they'd tone that down a little bit more. That way we don't have a game where like people are constantly bunny hopping. I mean, have you seen the pro players play COD? It's like they're constantly like running and proning and running and proning. It looks so ridiculous. It's like they're like doing. If you see them, they're not actually running. They're just like running, ducking, running, ducking, running, ducking, running, ducking. Or like it's like they're like animation canceling, and it's just so fucking weird. I mean, you can't really hate them on, you know, exploiting the game play mechanic, but you know, it's the game. The developer should be the one addressing that and making it, you know, discouraging that type of kind of like wacky, chaotic gameplay.
We've now neutralized Objective Charlie.
Here, take it fast.
Yo, boys, capturing this.
Objective Delta.
Yeah, this game. I mean, look, some of the servers, they have matches that are ridiculously long, like 1,200. Was it like? Yeah, this was like 1,200 tickets or something. And the ticket countdown, you know, rate is so slow, and you know, there is no time limit here either. So they removed the time limit or disabled it, and then they put the ticket countdown to, you know, the rate is really slow, so it makes the match really long. That's why a lot of times when I jump in Battlefield, I don't really finish the match because server owners, they set it too long, you know. And you know, no one has time to sit down for like an hour to play one match. Like at best it should be like, you know, 30 minutes or less. Ooh, what's this?
Objective Delta is no longer under our control.
There's probably people out there who love to play like, you know, beyond 30 minutes to 45 minutes, but yeah, most people don't have that time. That's why, like, every time I jump into Battlefield, you know, I have a hard time. Like, I play one match and then I just, you know, done for the day. Some of the matches are just that long. Alright, so wish list. Just take whatever VoIP system that BattleBit has, just put it in your thing. Obviously make it sound more like radio chatter, like actual radio chatter. That way it gives it like that sort of like genuine like military feel. But I like the way they did it currently. Yeah, it could definitely be improved, right? I think Squad does it pretty well too, but I think BattleBit does it is more simplistic and it's more intuitive and it's more user friendly. So yeah, use that system. Like, there's a lot of things in BattleBit that they could learn from. But you know, BattleBit doesn't have everything, right? Oh yeah, so yeah, mechanics, leaning, manual, free leaning. Yeah, you can have your, you know, your wall leaning. I don't mind that. Just add free leaning too.
Lost control of objective Alpha.
Have a little bit more variety on the vehicles. Like, I want to actually see more different types of jets, more different types of tanks, and, you know, combat vehicles, ground vehicles, ships. Yeah, I think there also needs to be a lot more emphasis on naval warfare as well. This game did it pretty well. It's just that it's not quite there. It's not perfect. And you know, most players are not like, I mean, unless the mode specifically requires you to, you know, battle it out on ships, most people aren't, you know, actually doing that. Right? They're on the ground or something like that. I actually want to see a legit, like, you know, maps where there's tank warfare and then there is naval warfare, and then, I mean, there's modes for that. There's air-to-air stuff, and, you know, modes and maps that limit it to naval stuff, but I want to see it like in the mix and not just limited to a mode, but like more like a map sort of deal. I also wish like a lot more games take a look at war tapes and war documentaries and look at the damage and destruction that a rocket or an explosive will actually be able to do. Like, a lot of these like games, the destruction feels very like feels very weak, right? Have you ever seen a rocket hit like a building or a tank in real life? Or, you know, in those war tapes, you actually see how powerful those explosions are. Like, say for like example, a javelin. When that thing hits a tank, that tank is obliterated, right? So, I actually want to be able to see, you know, it, you know, reflect of how it actually is in real life, you know, rather than, yeah, you know, less Hollywood stuff and more like, you know, actual, based off of how it is. In game. I mean, not in game, in real life. Holy shit. The mag system, BattleBit, it's not perfect, right? I want to be able to cycle through my mags, whichever, like, if I were to, I mean, they did a pretty good job on like a sort of like a rough draft level, meaning that the system works right now. I think it's okay right now. It could be improved, but it's really well done so far. So yeah, so I mean, as I went through this like previously, and often I talk about this, but you won't see the bullets now. But say I have 100 bullets, I shoot 3 and reload. It's just gonna show a total of 97 bullets. It's gonna pretend like a mag doesn't exist. It's as though you had a backpack full of rounds, and you just just magically loaded up 30, and you still ammo. People call it ammo pool. I don't know the term, but that's what it is right now. It's an ammo pool system. I think COD did it better in terms of like attention to details and reloading and stuff like that. But it's still gonna have ammo pool system. What Battlefield did correctly was that they made each, you actually have a mag, and each mag has 30 rounds or 20 rounds, whatever, and they're independent of each other. So obviously you shoot 3, you reload, instead of it magically filling back up right away to 30 rounds. You cycle that mag that has less bullets into the back of the mag pool, and you reload a fresh mag with fully loaded rounds. But then that mag that had less bullets is still in, you still have it, but it's just like, if you cycle all the way back to it, it still had like 3 less bullets, So that's what Battlefield did, right? And the reason why I, initially wanted that system in Battlefield 4, and I actually, posted that in the forums and people didn't like that idea, was to discourage people from running and gunning, actually utilize your weapon and preserve your ammo correctly. Because one of the things I never liked about, like, at certain times, Battlefield and COD can get runny and gunny. People run around, they don't care how much bullets they have, they will just spray and pray. And that type of gameplay kind of like creates a lot of chaos. Like especially with like TDM. Now, like, I don't really like the Sentinel gameplay right now in COD. And people should play however they want to, but one of my biggest pet peeves is the runny gunny, just like jumpy, like high on like sugar type of gameplay. People like loaded up on Monster Energy drink and they're playing like they're wacky or on some type of like bunch of cocaine or something, just like really quick pace. Battlefield's shooting mechanic is pretty good, but I'm pretty sure that what they want to actually replicate is Battlefield 1's shooting mechanic and gunplay. I'd say let that be the guiding mechanic, because obviously Battlefield is more simplistic. It's more like a cleaner version of Battlefield 2, or very, very similar to Battlefield 2. I would say look at Battlefield 3, look at Battlefield 1 or 4, and try and improve on that. Follow that system, but improve on it. You don't want to be as clunky as PUBG. I mean, PUBG, yeah, while I do like their projectile system, the game started off as a third-person shooter, and they introduced first-person mode, and it was horrible. It felt like, because it wasn't developed as a first-person shooter off the bat, it just felt very unrefined when you start playing it in first person. But it has a huge potential. Like, the mechanics are there. It's, I don't know why, it just feels more clunkier than Squad. Squad actually feels a little bit more better than it. But yeah, I mean, it had a pretty good potential. You know, to set the stage for what again gunplay should feel like. And you know, gunplay is currently in its current form is okay. I'd say it just has a lot of potential. It's not perfect. You know, I wouldn't call it fantastic, but I'd say it's pretty good. But it needs a lot of work, you know. But I like for me is the one thing with PUBG is like I like the satisfaction of hitting like a shot, like a long range shot, and that landing. And you know, you're not, you know, the numbers aren't thrown up on the screen. Like I don't mind if it shows like, you know, let's say like headshot at certain distance, or you know what the distance is that you got the shot. I think PUBG did it where you know you can check that. You'll see that reflect in the end games, you know, in the menu stats. So you can, you know, if you hit like 1,000-meter shot, you'll see that in your records. But what COD and Battlefield does that I dislike is they throw so much things on your screen to, you know, sort of like, I don't know if the keyword is like dopamine or whatever, but it rewards you in a way where it makes you feel like you're like a teenager, right? So every time you land an assist or a kill, you see that number throw up, you feel happy, right? But I like PUBG did it a little bit better, where the only thing you see is a blood splatter. Now the blood splatter is obviously unrealistic, but I think that worked just fine, because you knew you hit the shot. And you know, you're not being rewarded by like a ribbon or a number or a box or something like that popping up on the screen saying, hey, you got that kill, good job, plus 10, whatever. Instead, you just see a blood splatter and you're just like, wow, I hit that shot. It took me time to do it, but I did it. And that's why the gunplay in PUBG had potential, but it it needs more polish.
My vehicle is damaged. I need a
But
mechanic.
I always, like, for me, I admire people who are really skilled at it. Like, they really like land shots from like beyond 300 meters, you know, through brushes, you know, on targets that are moving, you know, above like 600 meters, you know, hitting 1,000-meter shots, whatever. Like, that's insane. Yeah, I just feel like, I don't know, it just feels like a lot of games nowadays, they just want you to be satisfied. It's like, as I said, it's like potato chips, right? That, you know, each piece of chip gives you like, you know, like plus 10 satisfaction. But then as you know, continuously see it, you know, more and more, you know, it goes down to like 9, 8, 7. Like, it then becomes like an addiction at that point. Like, I don't want to see, you know, 100 points because I hit a shot. Like, I don't care about that. Thing is, people want to see, the reason why people want to see it is because, you know, there's leveling up, there's progression like that. What PUBG did right was they removed that entirely. Just like, there is no leveling or anything. All weapons are available and you just play the game. You know, you're not grinding for a specific weapon or attachment. It's just all there. But the thing is, it's like, it depends on the mode, right? So with BR, it makes sense to make all weapons available. But in, like, say in this game, TDM or Conquest, you know, I could see that, you know, if they want players to spend more time in the game, they're gonna put a leveling progression system to keep, you know, keep people on the game grinding. But, you know, at least have a mode out there where, like, you know, I'm not needing to have to grind to just play. Like, I'd be kind of happy if, you know, all weapons are available and I don't need to grind at all, right? The only thing I'm grinding for is better KD, you know, better objective score. I just like general, just improving my own gameplay. You know, I don't want to be like you know, doing like 100 headshots just to unlock like a scope or a sniper or something, rifle or a skin. Like that's what COD does. That's what Battlefield does. I mean, that's like an exaggeration of what, you know. But yeah, I don't want to like have to do like, you know, do 35 headshots in the match to unlock this. Like I don't want to do that. Like what? Why are you making the game like a chore? Like people should be focusing on, you know, actually playing the damn game. You know, I think the thing is like for some people it's rewarding. They unlock this because they grinded for it. But like for me, it's like it's a lazy way to get people to spend time on the game. Like being able to grind for a skin, okay, whatever. But grinding for like in-game items is kind of like what the fuck. An attachment like a hollow or a 4x. Like, why did, you know, that system in general is kind of like bizarre to me. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I wish they would start doing away with that. I just want to use the weapon I want to use and focus on winning the match, right? Or just having fun. Look at that chubby bird. Look like a penguin. Who's 91 and 6? Oh yeah, that guy's. See, the thing is also improve anti-cheat. So whether they use easy anti-cheat or battle lie, COD uses ricochet anti-cheat system. Just keep focusing on improving it. I do want to see like a list of players getting banned. Like, you know, they deserve to be outed. Like, you know, blatant scripting. Like the amount of times I've seen games where you can all you can do is just report them, but you have to like still deal with them all the way till the end of the match. Like I wish I could just see them just get booted out the game. I think the developers are way too concerned with false flag reports, and that can be combated with like a replayer or death cam system. That way, you know, you get to appeal. Obviously, you know, if it's like for blatant hacking, yeah, get them out the match. But, you know, there should be like an AI system that detects whether, you know, players are legit cheating or just really good, whatever. But just keep focusing on improving that, you know. Just, you know, there's always going to be scripters and cheaters in multiplayer games. But I just really wish they'd dedicate a lot more resources to the team that works on that system to combat it. Because if anything, once a game gets overrun by scripters and hackers or cheaters, that's when you know the game is dying at that point. Because most players, they would not bother. They would just stop playing the game and move on to a different game. Like, that's how it felt like near the end of, like, you know, Modern Warfare 1. And near the end of PUBG, Fortnite. It's just like, you know, you kind of stop playing it once you know that the scripters are overrunning it. That's when, you know, they no longer recover in popularity anymore. So yeah, that's a big one for me. Performance and optimizations always, you know, strive to make the game playable for, you know, as much players as possible without, you know, hindering too much players, right? Like, it'd be nice to be able to lower the game's graphics to the point where, you know, people with low NPCs can play it, but not so that they have a huge advantage, right? Because I think one of the things in PUBG is that even if you had a high NPC, it's more advantageous to play it on the lower graphics because you can see things more clearly. So, you know, finding that right level of balance, that's key. But, you know, performance and optimizations are pretty huge, you know, for me.
Objective Bravo has just been neutralized.
484. Should I play this out? I'll give it like 10. 10 minutes. If this match doesn't end, then I'll just call it from here. It's almost 10. What else? Microtransaction? Okay, look, if you're a $70 game, I say just don't even consider adding it in, right? Like, okay, look, let people, if they want to grind for skins, let them do it just based off gameplay. But I don't know. I don't get the thing is, microtransactions are there for like games that, say for example, like a free-to-play game, right? It makes sense there, but does it make sense for a full-on, you know, $70 game? It just absolutely does not. And there are people that are willing to pay like $10 a month, right? Play a game like World of Warcraft or 15, whatever. There's people who are willing to, I mean, like, say like League of Legends, right? The game's totally free, but you can get skins. The only thing you can get are skins, no XP boost or anything. Skins are the keys, whatever. It makes sense that it's because it's a free play game. They have to find a way to monetize the game somehow, right? Just don't do the loot crate system. But and a lot of games are starting to trend more towards battle passes. If they end up doing microtransaction systems, just make sure that it's only just skins. There's no XP boost or anything. No, anything that makes you earn something faster, like attachments or anything that levels you up faster. Like, whether you're someone who spends like $100 or someone who spends $0, you should not be given an advantage by simply just paying, and then you get to unlock certain things like a weapon or a map, or you know, you get access to XP boost or anything. Like, that should have never been in this game. Like, that's one of the things I did. That's one of the huge criticism of Battlefield 4, and you know, even number 3. It's like they had that in there, and you know, I wish that they, I mean, personally, I wish that they would remove all that aspect out. And just make it strictly just skins. And God, they toe the line, but it's not in a good way. I mean, if you purchase like your battle pass or whatever, I believe you are able to unlock things faster. It's like, you know, if you're gonna come out with a season and then weapons are available, just, you know, the only way to get it is to be able to grind in game for it. Then again, as I said, I don't really like to have to grind for a specific attachment of a weapon. But if you're gonna do it, and if it's unavoidable, especially with seasons, and the incentive to play a season is to try, you know, the new stuff, so that might mean a new weapon. Sure, whatever, you know. Just make sure that you can't somehow obtain those things by purchasing new currency. Yeah, also one of the things I did not like about Battlefield is that some of the weapons that I want to play with is like level like 200 or something like that. Like, it's so far out, but like, it's kind of like no one has the time to sit there for like, well, like 3 hours just to play a weapon that they like we were just gonna jump on and then, you know, just want to choose a weapon, just get in there. So I really don't want to see that, but it's unavoidable. Some games do it better, where some of the better weapons are more readily available, and then, you know, the other weapons, the more unique weapons that are not necessarily better, you know, become more available later on as you level. But yeah, I think there just has to be a nice like strike, like a balance in there. Yeah, if they're gonna do microtransaction system, like battle passes, whatever. Just whatever you do, the only thing you can buy is skins, and don't like. One of the things is the skins. Oh my god, if some of it are too outlandish. Like, have you seen the guy the Fortnite skins? Like, I get Fortnite, right? But COD is just like straight off the deep end, and I just want Battlefield to look like a Battlefield game. Give me the option to disable skins, right? If people want to buy skins, fine, whatever. Let me, and then, you know, just leave it up. And have it as an opt-in system for now. So if you want to disable being able to see skins, then, you know, give players the option to disable it. But for, you know, when you first start the game, everyone has view skins on, right? But then make it clear that you can turn it off to save, you know, performance. You know, save your frames, and then, you know, just, maybe you just don't want to see all those skins up. Just let people disable it.
Just take an objective, Delta.
And like, say for example, like PoE, it becomes an actual issue. Like, if, you know, players put a certain amount of players get in one area, and, you know, certain skins are enabled, it will lag people out. Certain like effects. So, whoa, Jesus. Yeah, it'd be nice to be able to just disable that from my view, right? It won't disable other people's skin. They, you know, other people will be able to see each other, you know, and whatever they bought. But let me disable it, because I just want to see just, you know, just the environment, just the soldiers, and just, you know, God, just not get distracted by like fucking Shrek running around with like a water gun or something. People who want that, go ahead, enable the option to see that, but let people turn it off. I feel like the technology is there, you know. I'll just run in and die at this point. Is this match gonna end soon? All right, we'll play it out until it. I mean, 264 points is not that all that much left. We'll just play it out. Let's go to base D. Yeah, I had pretty like high hopes for like well, one, okay, although it's like one of the more graded Battlefield games, I kind of wished they didn't go for that far back. Like, I didn't, like, personally for me, I've seen too many World War One, World War Two games, and, you know, sometimes I've seen too many Cold War games too, like games that take place after World War II and then onto the Vietnam War. It's just like, those are kind of overdone at that point. Let's just go back to, you know, near future modern, or like not too far future like 2042 did, but like, you know, yeah, like modern but near future, right? So still the same stuff that you see in 2023, maybe in 10 years from now. You won't be seeing like a bunch of like weird sci-fi weapons and stuff, but, you know, more realistically, you know, near future weapons. It doesn't have to be some crazy wild concept weapons too. Just like, you know, you're still gonna have your same old M4s and stuff like that. And you're gonna have your improved weapon system, but it's not gonna be like some weird like railgun or something, or some laser gun. Like, leave that sci-fi stuff to sci-fi themed games like Star Wars or whatever. But Yeah, I think what people really want is they don't want another historical game right now. Like, if they came out with a Cold War game, whatever, because a lot of our favorite weapons are during that time period, but I think they really want to, you know, sort of make the same impact they did when Battlefield 3 came out, around the time when Modern Warfare 3 was, and Modern Warfare 2 were popping off. Then probably go back to modern games and improve where 4 left off with the technology of Battlefield 1. Then you're kind of set. I think it's just because like after the Exodus, the staff for DICE is kind of like out of touch. You know, they don't know what the community actually wants. But they should have had the brains to, you know, scour, you know, videos and forums and blogs and streams and figure it out. They should have had the research team to figure it out, but it seems that they never put any time or effort into that either. So they kind of just like, you know, just shipped out a really poorly made game, and they kept churning out the same crap, you know, like Hardline, 2042, Battlefield 5. Like, what the hell was those? You know, like, they kind of dropped the ball. They dropped it pretty hard. My idea of what the next Battlefield should be, I'd say use what's going on in the world today. It's so damn easy. It's like, okay, there's so much stuff happening today that can be used to set the stage for the next Battlefield, like campaign and, you know, the theme of the game. Like, they can totally, absolutely take a look at what's going on in Ukraine. Like, you know, bring in stuff from NATO, bring in stuff from Russia, China. I mean, you got the whole conflict with Russia and Ukraine, and then you got the whole conflict between China and Taiwan, and, you know, China and all the, you know, islands surrounding them, like South Korea, Japan, Philippines, Taiwan. So you got so much potential there. They could easily do like season 1. You know, the main story starts off with Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and then, you know, you transition the story onto, say, like this, the nuclear plant gets, you know, destroyed, and then that brings NATO, you know, Article 5, NATO, well, not Article 5, but triggers NATO's response, right? You can totally do that. It's a near modern setting, and there's a lot of potential there. So, and then you got China and Taiwan constantly, you know, there's so much tension there too. And or you can take a look at, like, you know, the stuff that's going down in, say, yeah, they could just, like, every season, like, say season 1, Ukraine and Russia, season 2, Taiwan and China, or Taiwan, Philippines, Japan, South Korea, China, or they can do like South Korea and North Korea, like stuff going on there. They can do stuff like between like Israel and Saudi Arabia and Iran, and then the next season they can do, I don't know, South America and the US. I don't know, but it should lead up to a point where, you know, there's so much conflicts going on, and then by like the 8th season you got actual full-on global warfare, like global conflict. Like, I think that would be the smartest thing to do right now, is like take a bunch of what's going on today, turn them into seasons, and then eventually make it so that it leads to like the final season be like a global warfare, like a World War III style thing. But you don't wanna make it so that like right off the bat when the game launches is straight up World War. You don't want. I think it would be kind of inefficient to do it that way. You kind of want to sort of lead people in, like, hey, something's about to pop off. We want to start the story off with like, like, Russians invasion, or Taiwan starting to move their ships toward Taiwan or something like that, but not straight right off the bat started off with like an actual World War, because you want to set that into seasons, right? You're gonna be a game and do it in seasons, break it down into different events like going around in the world, right? So say, yeah, as I said, season 1 maybe do Russian and Ukraine conflict, season 2 China and all the surrounding islands, right? Season 3 you do like Israel and Iran. Season 4 do say like, I don't know, South America and Europe. Season 5 do US and, I don't know, Syria. No, not Syria. US and Iran, right? Sometimes you can even just overlap the back together. And then season 6 do like, I don't know, Russia and China alliance along with like, say, Iran. And then season 7 and 8 NATO triggers. And then now you got a full-on global conflict. That can last up to 3 seasons. Season 7, 8, and 9. The beginning, the middle, and end of the global conflict. Or you can do 4 whole seasons of global conflicts. But they have so much potential there to do that. I think in this game it kind of rushes it, because it goes straight into like NATO and Russia and China, but it does it too quick, because it makes I think they wanted to do that because of the pacing, for a reason of the pacing of the campaign and stuff. But I mean, now with games with seasons and DLCs, you can break it down and you can sort of make it gradual, so it would feel like a movie. And there's build up, and then there is the eventual like climatic events. So there's that. And then not only that, you get to see different weapon systems and cool weapons being used, like 6th gen fighters and stuff like that, stealth fighters and stealth bombers and reconnaissance vehicles, aircrafts. And then you get to see all types of like different missile systems and defense systems. But yeah. So that's on the theme side, and then that can set the stage for the campaign. I think in Battlefield you tend to have like the faceless hero type of guy, but in COD you have the more like familiar characters. I think in COD they do it better when it comes to like character building and character like story progression in their story. So I'd say the campaign does it better, but they don't have to go that route for Battlefield. It could still be faceless hero, but we want to make sure that there are recurring characters, right? Like people who are not gonna be there throughout the from the beginning of like small scale conflicts to the large scale warfares. Like we want to see like state officials, public figures, government officials, military figures. I mean, it doesn't have to be people who are currently living today. It could just be just made up person, but it has to be like a realistic depiction of that person in that position. Like we're not gonna be like, hey, can we bring Joe in there as the president? But because I don't think Joe would like that. But obviously, do a little bit of research and try and create a character that you would think realistically represents someone of that position in the time period. Like, let's say like 10 years from now. But yeah, I mean, that's all stuff you can do, right? Why am I not getting my drops? Hold on. Did I get it? Claim, yes. I did it. Yeah, so today I actually had Lost Ark is constantly doing like drops on Twitch. So what you do is like pull up a stream that is a proper partner stream that actually has the drops enabled, and then you get like a chest or a gem or crafting material, whatever. So that's kind of nice. Anyways, I got those. Got my stuff. I think on the 20th is when the Battle Pit drops are available. The next one. I think they've been doing it like every week. If you sit down and watch stream, you claim it and then you unlock like a skin for a weapon or something. Alright, so yeah, it's getting pretty late. It's 10, 12. I was gonna call it at 9:30, but ended up finishing out the match. Anyways, we'll talk more a little bit more later about like what we want coming from onto the next Battlefield. But I kind of get a feeling that people are not having good expectations right now from DICE. But who knows? Maybe they'll whip out something. But I don't know. I mean, we don't know what they're gonna do and how they're gonna address the current king, which is Modern Warfare 2 right now. Like, how are they gonna break into the scene like they did with number 3, Battlefield 3? What brought the success from that, or what that game did successfully. So we'll see. For me, I'm just gonna continue to read, watch videos, people who pay attention to the scene, people who might have more better access, see what happens there. I guess we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I think that given 2042's flop, let's just hope they don't double down on it. They just be like, scrap it, kill it, just destroy it and move on and salvage what you got now. Try and rehire those those developers that left the company. Like, come on now, just bring them back, bring the team back together, and just make a solid, modern, near future shooter using an improved the improved technology from Battlefield 1, visual and audio. They did it really well. Shooting mechanics did it really well. Destruction system, just look at what other games are doing that has destruction, figure it out. But there's a lot of expectations for the next one, and we just gotta hope that they actually listen to the community and design the game around feedback, because right now it would be a good opportunity to take feedback, because there's so much criticism, so much feedback, and now would be a good time to learn for DICE. And someone at DICE has got to put their foot down with EA, just like, hey, we need the time, we need to take our time on this, and we need to push on something good, not something on a schedule, like every year or two we've got to push out a Battlefield game. No, take that time to actually make it good, right? So 2042. What, it came out in, was it 2022, right? Or 2023? I can't remember. It was this year, so so that means that at least take 4 years of development time to create the next game. I know some people are like, they want something by next year, but I would say take take time, right? Just take that 4 or 5 years to make the next one, and acquire the right resources and the right people to do a good job. For now, just I would say just let people figure out. Just let people have fun in the other games for now. Your battle bit, whatever. Let people have fun in COD, and then you know once you're ready, launch something that will completely blow all the FPS games out the water. But one can only hope, right? Anyways, I'm gonna head out. Peace.